Welcome to Tips for Clips. Today I will be demonstrating how to use GoFybr to make it look like you have a fuller head of hair if your hair is thinning. And I'll walk you through a quick step-by-step video on how to give a low fade. This is a quick look at the finished product and you can tell a drastic difference. First step, take all the clips and guards off and you're going to put it in the long setting, the opened position. For you beginners, this cuts your hair just a little bit longer than the closed position. And we're just going to go along the sides and the bottom here, making a straight line. I'm showing you here in real time, and then I'll fast forward in just a bit. There's really nothing to this step. If you have a good set of clippers like these that I'm using right now, it'll take off everything very evenly and you won't have to go over it too many times. You see how easily these clippers are taking off the hair right there. I'll link these clippers in the video description below. And you just want to go relatively low. Depending on how high you go here, that's what determines whether it's a medium fade, a high fade, or a low fade. And you just want to make sure that it's all even and that you leave no patches behind. Again, invest in a set of good clippers and it'll go a long way. You'll recoup the value within just a couple of haircuts. As you can see, I go all around with each step that I do, and this is to save time. And I drop down in the back a little bit compared to the sides. You see how it goes down in the back. And this is just a matter of preference and how low fades are typically cut. Next, I'll be using a number 3, which reads 10 millimeters. And I'm putting it in the closed lever position, the short position. It cuts a little bit shorter. And here I'm going all the way up on the sides until I reach that thinning hair. So you want to go along anything that's even remotely thick on the sides. There's nothing more to it here. You just want to make sure you do not cut the thinning hair on top in this step. You're going to entirely leave the thinning hair. Next is a number 2, which reads 6 millimeters, also in the closed short lever setting. And here I'm going to go all the way up until where I went with the number 3 in the previous step. I don't want to go past where I went with the number 3, but just up until there. The next step is going to be where the fading really begins. I've put on my number 1 guard here, which reads 3 millimeters, and I am putting it in the long position, the opened position. You see here? And what I'm going to do is go about an inch or an inch and a half above where that stark line is. The initial line that I made, I'm going to go just about an inch or an inch and a half above that with this number 1 in the long position. You're going to see here in this step, you're going to start blending, and there's only one more step after this in order to complete our fade. So take your time on this step. You see how as I go up, I flick out because you always want to be fading. And as you go up, you go away from the hair. As always, go around on each single step to save time. And you can tell I didn't make a perfectly straight line in my first step in this part. So make sure that first step you take your time and make as straight a line as you can. But there are always ways to fix any errors, so I'm going to use the lower guards to make sure it's blended perfectly on the side. But you see how the fade is already coming along really nicely here. For the last step of the fade, I'm going to keep the number 1 clip in and just put it in the short or closed lever setting. And all I'm going to do on this step is knock out that line that we still see at the bottom. That's all you have to do for this step. The initial line we created that you still see there all the way at the bottom, you're just going to go up about half an inch, always up and out technique, and you're going to try to get rid of that bottom line. One tip here that you'll see me using is if you're ever wanting to pinpoint a specific part of the fade that is not blending quite right, use the corner of the clipper and target that exact part so that you don't have to use the full width of the clipper blade. And you can see we have a really nice fade here, and it wasn't too many steps, a very basic low fade down to about a half. All that's left is to shape up the beard, the sideburns, behind the ears, the neck, and the shape up really makes a huge difference. It almost seems already like we're adding hair by defining the curves on the side and the sideburns. So this is a really important step. I have videos on how to give a perfect shape up, and I will walk you through it here as well. You want to make the front hairline straight, and on the sides you go straight down as you see I'm doing, and you want to curve the sideburns as smoothly into the beard as you can, again taking your time on this step. You try to leave everything looking as natural as possible. You don't want to push back the hairline or push back the sideburns. Even along the sides here, you see I'm going straight down along where the beard naturally curves. Behind the ears, you're going to use the T-edge, the side of the trimmer, and along the back, just make a perfectly straight line on both sides. You see here, taking my sweet time, making sure I have a well-defined line, and I'll show you how to round out the back. On the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. You just want to make a straight line, and around the ears, you're using the edge of the trimmers. Once you have a straight line on both sides, you're going to start pretty low and go horizontally. You can choose here to round out your corners or to keep them straight and square. Here I chose to round them out. And you see I went relatively low. You don't want to go too high. And just go straight horizontally until you reach the vertical lines that you made on both sides. This will ensure that you don't make a crooked or strange looking line on the back. Here I'm just going where the beard naturally meets the corner there. You don't want to go too high to the chin, but you also want to make sure you clean the neck. And you can see what a difference the shape up is making now for the haircut. And I'm just touching up the top of the mustache. And now for the magic. GoFybr hair fibers. Chose the black color to match his hair. Look at the difference this is going to make. It's pretty much going to make it look like he has a full head of hair on top, and it's going to look very natural. So here I'm tapping on the back bottom of the tube, and it comes out in this very light powder. And I like to sort of pat it down just a little bit to make sure they stick well. And of course you don't want to wash it out or anything like that after putting it in, but it stays for the full day. It'll even stay overnight. You might have some hair fibers on your pillow a little bit, but by and large, this product stays in really well. So now I'm applying it liberally, and you can see already what a difference it makes. I'm smoothing it out, making sure it's in the exact positions that I want it in. The key here is to make it look as natural as possible without adding it in places that would look a little awkward if you added some fibers. For example, sometimes people put fibers too far down the hairline and make a fake hairline, and you don't want to do that. And I'm just going to touch up a little bit more here. You still see there's some bald spots on the back, and that's going to fill in those gaps. You can tell filling in the top there really pulled the entire haircut together. And all that I'm going to do now is shape up the front, which I like to do after adding the GoFybr fibers. And it adds another dimension to the fullness on top. And here's a look at what we started with. Almost hard to believe what a drastic change it's been. And after the fade and adding GoFybr, here is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I've linked the product I've used in this video in the video description. I've also linked it in the comments. Here are some of my other videos. Thank you for all the support for this channel, and I will see you at the next video.